Alright, a 7.5 times 10 to the 4th Newton rocket is accelerated upward by a thrust force of 9.0 times 10 to the 5th newtons. That should be 10 to the 5th. Find the acceleration of the rocket. Now, first of all, whenever a problem gives you something like this, 7.5 times 10 to the 4th newtons, that's telling you the weight of the rocket, which is the force of gravity. Fg is 7.5 times 10 to the 4th newtons. And it's accelerated upward by a thrust force of 9.0 times 10 to the 5th newtons. So, if we draw a free body diagram, you've got the force of gravity acting down and the thrust force acting up. So, the net force, because to find the acceleration we have to know F net. Alright, so the net force is the sum of these. Fg is a negative 7.5 times 10 to the 4th newtons. It's negative because it's down. And the thrust force is up, so it is 9.0 times 10 to the 5th. So my net force is simply adding those together. 9.0 times 10 to the 5th newtons plus a negative 7.5 times 10 to the 4th newtons. That is my net force. Now this is where it gets tricky, because plugging this into the calculator is where people make their mistakes most of the time. So we're going to look at this. We're going to do 9.0, do not hit times 10. We're going to use this button, the double E, and that gives us the exponents, so that's times 10 to the 5th. Now I'm going to add plus, and notice it changes it out of scientific notation for me. I'm going to add 7.5, and it's a negative 7.5 times 10 to the 4th. And then I hit equals, and that is 8.3 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8.3 times 10 to the 5th newtons. That is my net force. I need to know my net force in order to find the acceleration, because F net equals mass times acceleration. Well, I also need to know my mass. So I'm going to use my weight, the Fg, force of gravity. I know that Fg equals mass times the acceleration due to gravity. We found that in our previous example problem. So the mass is going to be Fg divided by little g equals m. So my Fg is a 7.5, a negative 7.5 times 10 to the 4th newtons divided by negative 9.8 meters per second squared equals my mass. So again, take my calculator, 7.5 negative times 10 to the 4th divided by 9.8 negative equals, the mass is 7.7 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3 times 10 to the 3rd kilograms. So now that's my mass. So I have my mass and I have my net force right here. So now I can use my F net equals mass times acceleration, divide both sides by mass, so my acceleration is my net force, which was 8.3 times 10 to the 5th, so 8.3 times 10 to the 5th newtons divided by my mass of 7.7 times 10 to the 3rd kilograms. So 8.3 times 10 to the 5th divided by 7.7 times 10 to the 3rd equals an acceleration of 1.1 times 10 to the 2 meters per second squared. And since my acceleration, or all of my other numbers were in scientific notation, I want my acceleration in scientific notation as well. Alright.